Good morning, Grigori High. I'm Zainab Alejo.
And I'm Jake Leahy. Today is Friday, February 1st.
Today on JNN, we look at the meaning of homecoming.
We look at a student demonstrating integrity.
And Carson Wells gives us another installment of the Sports Box.
All this and more on today's JNN.
Have you ever wondered what it takes to make homecoming happen? JNN takes a look behind the scenes of this week's homecoming. Claire Billington and Boise Behannon brings us the story.
Homecoming is celebrated twice a year, but most don't know the hard work that makes it possible, or the meaning behind it.
The students do all of the work. I don't require anything. They're allowed to start working 3 weekends or 2 weeks prior to homecoming. The students do everything.
My biggest role is more of a broad school perspective. So, I'm doing just these big picture things, and then the actual class presidents take over at work days and during their meetings, and from there it's just them,
I guess I delegate jobs to the other people in my class. Coming here and setting up at 6 in the morning on Monday, it's not fun, but we do finish and it does turn out well.
And not only the decorations, but just the atmosphere that goes along with it is just, it's so fun.
The hallways just come alive with whatever our theme is.
I think we can agree that homecoming looks fun, but what is the origin of homecoming?
Why we're doing a homecoming, it's just, a school tradition, or like high school in general tradition.
It allows us to have fun and dress up crazy because we'll never really have a chance in our lives to do that again.
It's a way for the school to come together and show unity through dress-up days and vote on royalty, just support our athletes, basically.
Isn't it like the alumni come back home to their school or something like that?
The alumni come back home. Look for them at tonight's game. Reporting for JNN, this has been Claire Billington and Jake Leahy.
We hope to see everyone at the basketball game tonight. The PBIS store is open today at lunch in the C Building attendance windows. You can also enter into a drawing to win one of 2 hydro flasks being raffled off. All you need is 1 JAG point to enter. The winner will be announced today at the rally. Do you speak Spanish at home? If you do, you would be a great candidate for Spanish for Spanish speakers class at Grigori. Your Spanish does not have to be perfect. The class is designed for students that already speak the language but would like to master their skills. If you are interested, simply mark Spanish for Spanish speakers on your ballot. If you have any questions, speak to Mrs. Finland in B103 or Mrs. Padilla in room C218. Students, find your library books, check the date stamp, and return or renew any of your overdue books to the library as soon as possible. New features are also being added into the library in February, so be sure to look out for Black History Month and Blind Date with a Book. Yearbooks are currently on sale. To purchase a yearbook, visit yearbookordercenter.com and enter the Grigori High School code 16218 to order now. Yearbooks sold out last year, so do not miss out. JAGs are loyal, JAGs have integrity, and JAGs achieve. For most, this is just a motto. For student Christian Esquivel, he takes that saying to heart. Carson Wells brings us more.
Ask any high school student and they'll tell you, managing a full load of classes is no easy task. Balancing schoolwork with a social life, athletics, and sometimes even a job, it becomes challenging to keep up. For the past 4 years, senior Christian Esquivel has managed to do all of these things without reliable transportation. Grigori math teacher Lori Gaines noticed Christian's struggle and decided to take action.
I heard this story from Brandon Fromm, the assistant principal at Grigori High School, and he shared with me this remarkable story about a young man whose work ethic and his commitment to excellence is amazing.
He just has a lot of responsibility on himself and does it with the most wonderful attitude. Even when he's at school and he's exhausted, he's still there. He doesn't miss. I mean, if he's been up most of the night, he still goes to school.
Like, I know I get to school tired, but I think I ended up getting used to it.
In addition to being a full-time student, Christian was a varsity football player, and he currently has 2 jobs.
I work for Stanislaus County PAL. It's like kids in the community, and also a morning job with a family friend. I would ask my friends, a few of my friends to ride that do have cars, and they would take me to and from work. And grateful for them. And also my parents at times would take me where I need to go, and also at times the city bus.
I started a GoFundMe a couple weeks before school got out for Christmas because I wanted to raise money to get a used car for Christian because I knew he was working multiple jobs and going to school and all of that, and I didn't realize he was doing all of that without transportation of his own.
He was looking for a car for about $5,000, and I said, that's a really tough price range. However, if this kid is who you say he is, we'll figure something out.
Initially, when they told me that I was getting the other more beat up car, I was still grateful, but then for them to say that that's not the actual car and that they got me a brand new car, I think that's what tipped it over, and it means a lot. It's gonna make getting around a lot easier and then to work and all, so I'm just grateful.
I know there were a lot of people at Grigori, students included, who were a part of giving, and I just wanted to thank them all so much for being a part of this. Some of the teachers came out here today, and it's been way more amazing than I could have even anticipated that day when I made the decision to do this.
Reporting for JNN, this has been Carson Walls.
Hi, my name is Cesar Flores, and along with Diego Gonzalez and this year's staff, I produce this season's JNN. We are currently recruiting for next year's broadcast team, and in an effort to interest you in joining the tradition that is JNN, we bring you the following promotional video with current and former JNN staff members from Grigori High School's award-winning broadcast program to share what we do behind the camera. Let's take a look.
People think JNN gets put together in a blink of an eye, but in reality, it takes a 3-week cycle, late-night food runs, and a lot of time and effort put into each episode.
On every Monday, we have an editorial board meeting, and what that means is for our meetings, we meet with McCarthy and any other editors of different roles of the class. And what we do during those meetings is we plan out the upcoming shows, we figure out what needs to be worked on.
We talk about what stories are in progress right now and what we can fit into the show, what can be done by the date of the show.
And then from there, we'll focus on the actual editing process and who's going to be responsible for certain areas. And as for Sports Box, I'll make sure I have all the dates set and the people to go and film them and make sure all that's together.
After that, we call in the people who have segments and then start getting the ball rolling as far as their segments go, getting a plan for what they're going to do that week, and then get a shooting schedule set up.
The final week ties everything together with the stressful but rewarding process of shooting anchors, segments, and a sports box, along with editing final clips that will be put in a Friday broadcast.
There are definitely a lot of people involved in making every JNN episode. There's a few of us who stick around for the majority of the time after school and during lunch, just making sure everything gets done.
After enrolling in broadcast journalism my sophomore year, I was exposed to more of the technology side of our high school curriculum. With that, I gained access to the Mac lab that we have, the studio, the resources that Mr. McCarthy provides to us.
It's really allowed me to come out of my shell and kind of explore how I want to see the world a little bit more, so I like that.
Students interested in joining the JNN staff for next year. There's a mandatory meeting in C110. Applications will be made available, and Mr. McCarthy will be available to answer questions. Applications for this year's Grigori's Got Talent will be available in the SBO beginning next Friday. The show is scheduled for Friday, March 8th. Congratulations to Cambria Hart for receiving Best of Show in the Turlock Regional Art Show. A medical science class is currently being offered on the ballot for the 2019-2020 school year. This class is designated for 9th and 10th grade students. So if you're a current freshman interested in pursuing a career in medicine, you can register for it on your ballot or visit Mrs. Joseph in room L106 before or after school. Seniors, the FAFSA is due by March 2nd. All students attending a junior college or four-year college should complete the FAFSA. Go to fafsa.gov today. The African American Education Conference is being held at MJC on Saturday, February 23rd. Gregory students are invited to attend. If you would like to attend this conference, see Assistant Principal Kuroda in the N building for permission forms. And now, Carson Wells gives us another installment of the Sports Box.
What's going on, Jags? I'm Carson Wells, bringing you the latest and greatest in varsity athletics. Welcome to the first Sports Box of the new year. This week, we're taking a look back at the recent events of our winter athletes as their season begins to come to an end. Let's kick things off with wrestling. Our wrestling team just finished their regular season this week with a record of 1-4 in league. But tomorrow, our varsity boys will compete in league tournament in Pittman, where the top 4 will go to the divisionals, and as for girls, they will compete in divisionals at Lincoln High next weekend. We wish the team the best. Our boys soccer team took on the Turlock Bulldogs Wednesday night. Unfortunately, the Bulldogs got the best of them, beating our boys 3-0. With this loss, the team is currently ranked 3rd in league, right behind Turlock and Pittman, but will have a chance to move up as they take on Pittman Pride today at Pittman. The boys will play their last 2 games of the regular season at home, facing Modesto on Monday and Enox on Wednesday. Our girls soccer team also faced off against the Bulldogs on Wednesday. Sadly, with a similar result to the boys, they took a tough loss, losing 6-0. Following the loss, the girls will play their last home game of the regular season today at 3, facing off against the Pittman Pride. They'll finish their season off playing Mohai on Monday and Enox on Wednesday. Both games will kick off at 3. Looking at our girls basketball team, the girls took on the Downey Knights this week. Right off the start, the Lady Jags looked strong with a 16-2 lead in the first quarter, and they controlled most of the half when the Knights came back in the second, tying the game up at 52. This forced the game into overtime. Luckily, the girls held their ground and came out with a win, beating the Knights 61-60. With this win, the girls are looking to continue their success tomorrow as they take on Los Banos at home. Travel to Turlock on Tuesday, and will cap off the regular season at home on Thursday against Enox for the Lady Jags senior night. As for our boys basketball team, they took on Pittman Wednesday night. Leading the whole game, the boys won with a final score of 54-45. Standout players include sophomore center Carlos Hernandez, who had 10 points, 10 rebounds, and 1 steal, and senior Jamin Crenshaw with 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 steals. Following the game, the boys are currently ranked 2nd place in CCAL, right behind Turlock. As for tonight, the boys will take on Downey at home for our homecoming game. Tip-off starts at 7:15. Make sure to come out and support. Well, that's all for this week. Keep up the good work, Jags. Until next time, I'm Carson Wells, signing off.
Thanks, Carson.
Well, that's it for today's JNN.
Remember to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jag News Network and Jag News Net.
I'm Zainab Alejo.
And I'm Jake Leahy. See you next time.